Hello, hello, holy shit. Um, I've decided to ditch the laptop completely. I'm just recording this using my phone. It's early morning. My voice is dry. I feel like a fucking. We were watching last night Ultimate Survivor. Like I feel like Bear Grylls in a cave with the like nighttime camera on, just like recording how he's about to be mauled by a bear. But no, yeah, this is again all I can do. I'm still on holiday. Won't be back till the 9th. I'll be back on the 9th, and I'll probably stream then. So look forward to that. But while I'm here, I can't stop thinking about Brawl, of course. So I'm going to do another talking points. And today, this morning, it's going to be on why should you play aggressively? Why would you play aggressively? It's incredibly tempting in Brawl to begin playing passively. It's so tempting, in fact, that the majority of players do it without realizing they're doing it. They just go through this basic feedback loop where they do one they do a trial and error. They do one thing, it doesn't work. They try and attack, it doesn't work. So what do? They wait, and it works because the opponent tries to attack, and they just keep waiting. And there's a huge sort of ditch in gold to plat elo, even mid diamond, where this just continues. Where of the two players in a rank match, one just waits for the other, and then the other, like one or the other, eventually gets impatient, and it sort of enables passivity. But these players can only get so far, and I want to talk a little bit about that, about how to avoid it, why passivity is a trap and will limit you in the long term. Um, Despite the fact that Brawlhalla's mechanics, like the actual game itself, does favor defensive play. Currently, it does favor defensive play. Chain dodges are very good, but I mean, I know someone like Eram will come in to the comments on this and just say like, "Oh, chain dodging is stupid. Aggressive is brain dead. You just chain dodge 3 times, you're invincible." Chain dodging has huge limitations, and it really depends on the matchup as well. Plus, it costs your dodge, but whatever. That's another video. Um, it's buggeroo again. Oh well, one take. We're not gonna stop and restart. I've never stopped and restart. We do all of these in one take. YOLO shit quality things is going to be my brand. It's going to be my brand. So yeah, all right. So hopefully you saw yesterday's one. This is going to be a much shorter video because I keep getting feedback. Oh, cut them down, cut them down, cut them down because there's so much to digest. This is going to be a shorter one. Hopefully you saw yesterday's day before, one of those video on momentum and tempo, and this is going to be tied into that. The tempo advantage is only usable by those who wish to take initiative, who are aggressive. You have to push your advantage. That pushing doesn't necessarily mean you have to go and actually use an attack, but it means you have to begin presenting ideas to your opponent that, let's say, I am going to attack. You put them in a situation where they can't react to whether or not you're attacking or not, and they just assume you are. Now, although they may put the defensive hitbox out there, you are the aggressor because you are the initiator. You put out the idea that you are going to attack them, even though you do not. Because you did that, you are the aggressor. And that's why simply, oh, this person only uses dodge, this person only uses attacks, is not a good measure for what is aggressive and what is defensive. It's more about initiative. And that's a lot of that is related to tempo. A lot of it's invisible, but you can definitely analyze it, and you can see people's thought processes. But the easiest time to see it is when you are playing. If you're not thoughtful, if you're just mindful while you play, you will notice it. You can't avoid noticing it. So yeah, why play aggressively? So there's the tempo argument. Like, if you have initiative, you need to seize initiative. You need to start acting on it as fast as possible. The slower you are, the more advantages you're just giving up for no reason. Like, why? Here's a good way of doing it. Yeah, here's a good way of hitting at it. Why be slow? Why take the time? Because essentially what you're saying is, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm not confident. I don't feel good enough to do something right now. So I'm going to look for more time. I'm going to try and work out what I do need to do. And the thing is you can't afford to do that. A better player won't need the time, because instead of learning and getting into the habit of searching for time until they feel comfortable with what, like being able to play the situation with what they already know, they will push themselves into the situation that they do not know, and therefore not develop the habit of seeking more time, but instead developing the habit of learning how to play given the time that they have. And if you are a player who is constantly sort of jumping away, trying to work out what to do, how to deal with it, and this sometimes is viable. It depends. The issue is if it's your natural state, if it's your habit, if it's unconscious, that's when you're in trouble and you're going to fall into a ditch later on in your learning. But if you're one of these players that's constantly jumping away, you're essentially limiting your ability to learn. Your ability to learn will always have these huge gaps in it, because you can only act after a set amount of time thinking. You may, and here's the thing is, you may eventually work out what to do. You may jump away 3 times, dodge to the other side of the stage, and you may then get the read correct. But that read is going to be a different read. Like, you might think, oh, okay, so that's what I had to do there if I hadn't have taken all those jumps. And it's like, that's not the case, because the jumps and the changing time, the time you took to try and work out what you had to do, changed the context of the situation because of things like tempo and momentum. You may have slowed your opponent down. I mean, I know that when someone starts jumping away from me, it actually speeds me up. I get pissed off at them. I'm saying, like, fuck you, trying to take time on me. I'm going to get underneath you, chain dodge you, I'm going to gun you, I'm going to jog you. Like, just push into them as much as I can. Whereas, to me, and I truly believe this, although Brawlhalla is a defensive game mechanically, human psychology, just people's thoughts and stuff, and things that come off that, like tempo advantages, momentum, and how you can sort of attack people more psychologically than mechanically in the game, will always favor this aggression, this pushing forward to limit the amount of time your opponent has. Because if you train yourself to always be going as fast as possible, and I don't mean just rushing at your opponent, attacking them. Again, it's about initiative, which is an incredibly delicate topic. There's many, many ways you can use initiative, abuse initiative, exploit it, and push it on your opponent. And often, like one completely like unpredictable mix-up way of doing it is to show that you are going to push your initiative, but then not doing it at all. Like, that's high level as fuck though. Like, and that rarely happens. But the point is, initiative is incredibly delicate. And when I say play quickly, I do not mean just rushing. I mean not asking and searching for more time than you have, but instead accepting that you don't know what to do right now, trying something given the time you have, and then using your hindsight, using your practice time to learn in the future. And it may take multiple times to go through this situation. You may hit the same situation 3 times in a row and still get it wrong, despite knowing in your head what the correct thing is to do there, from the experience of getting it wrong the first 2 times. The third time you may still get it wrong, and that's fine, because the things that are most important that you learn will naturally repeat themselves as you practice, because they're the highest value things that you like. If it doesn't naturally repeat itself, you can forget about it. You don't need to fixate on one thing or the other and make sure you get it right. It's like, oh, this guitar player keeps staring me or whatever at a certain angle. Like, don't just sort of wet yourself and start jumping away to try and work out, oh, how do I deal with guitar dare? Like, it's really too general. It doesn't make sense. Just play it out, and if it keeps happening, it will repeat. The problem will repeat, and you will be able to come up with a solution if you are not fixated or close-minded. Which brings me on to sort of what this video is about, which was, it was in response to someone asking me, well, how do you make all these changes? I've just said why you should, the reasons for doing it, and I've just said why it can be difficult and why you shouldn't get frustrated. But how do you actually do it? And again, this depends on you, the way you learn. It changes for everyone. But the biggest tip I can give you, and this is just a general tip for every player that should be followed almost religiously, is confidence, or false confidence. It is more important in your practice to be confident than it is to be right. It is more important to be confident than it is to be right. Now, what does this mean? Basically, if you are confident and wrong, that is better than being unconfident and wrong. If you jump away and you fail, your time jumping away, your actions in that time of practice that you wanted to spend learning the game were useless. If you confidently try and do something despite not really being sure what to do, if you accept the time that you're given and try and act within that instead of asking for more, playing passively, searching for space, it sort of flags in your mind that moment, and it says, okay, here, this point right here in time, I need to fix that. and it will basically essentially show it to you yourself. It's more about getting it into your awareness. If it's in your awareness, if you're aware of it, that's half the battle done. And then it's just repetition, and the high value ones repeat, and you will begin to get it down if you practice mindfully, if you focus on it, keep it in mind, but not fixate, just keep it in mind. So yeah, like if you're confident and you're wrong, there is still value. You can learn from the mistake. The mistake is in the right place. It will repeat itself. And the fact that you are confident about it, if you are confident about it and don't protect, like you don't act to protect your ego in these situations, you feel the fall. You feel the fact that you are more wrong. But the difference is that that's okay. It was practice. It was practice, and you're confident as a player that you will grow. And therefore being wrong in practice should be your goal, essentially. Like not directly, but indirectly. If you are not doing something wrong in practice, I don't know how you expect to grow. It's just one of the easiest ways to do it. You don't have to fuck up to grow, but why not? You know, why avoid it? If you are not confident and you just desire to be right, and you look for that way to be right, and you wiggle and squirm to try and find the right answer, you won't. You won't. Like, let's imagine you're doing a scientific test. If you keep changing a variable like how much time you're taking to find the right decision, it lessens the value of the results. You want to be playing as fast as possible, as confidently as possible, so that your failures are flagged up to yourself. And it doesn't matter anyone else, fuck everyone else. Like, your failures will be flagged up to yourself, and your failures will be consistent and therefore more easily rectifiable. Oh fuck. Anyway, I think people are home, and that will do. So yeah, that's what I had to say. Basically, don't give in to the idea that passive play is overpowered. Like, yes, the game is defensively oriented, but you don't need to do that. Anyway, yeah, bye. People are home. Ciao. Happy New Year. Bit late, but yeah.